Welcome to this week's edition of the UFL Homer Hour. I'm here with Nick, and we're going to go over the Week 6 results, talk about the news of the week, and preview the Week 7 games. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Got some more UFL football wrapped up. Did you catch a big weekend, or were you focused on things like hockey like me?
Well, I was focused on things like hockey and some baseball, but I made sure to catch up on the UFL, well, the games that were worth catching up.
It
Yeah,
was not as exciting as week 5, that's for sure.
that's for sure. And apparently, my Brahmas think that golf scores are the way to go. They've stopped scoring touchdowns.
And if it was, they would have had a good game. They would
They
have
would
had a
have had a
really
great
good game.
game, but they had a horrible game.
It was really bad. Did not look good. And we're going to get into the week 6 results here shortly. But, the only UFL news that we seem to be having lately is they were talking about restructuring the playoffs, I guess, behind our backs. I also think this is a little bit of a rumor mill. Maybe they're just trying to stir up for attention. But Rob, what do you think? Should they stick to the conference, the top 2 in each conference to go into the playoffs, or should they do the top 4 in the total league?
So, and they were kind of splitting the difference on that. They were going to say that if you won the division you were in, and then it was the next 2 best, which I would have been fine with, but you can't change it halfway through the season because the team that draws fans might not make it in. That's not how it works. That's WWE crap there. You can't do that. I think with only 8 teams, they should just have one conference. Even if next year they have 10, they should still just have one conference. If they get 10, that'd be fantastic because you could literally have everyone play everyone once, and then you set a rivalry game for your second one. So like the Brahmas and Renegades could play twice, and then you play everyone else once. That'd be great. And then you just pick the top 4 from there. But
Does the math work out that way? I don't
yeah,
know if you get all 10 games. What am I
10
missing?
teams. You play everyone once. That's 9. You
No,
just play the
that'd be 7 games, right? 7 and then one rivalry game.
No, I said if they upped it to 10, because
Oh, I got you.
if there was
I
talk,
got you.
if the expansion actually comes through, but if you're going to stick with divisions, and if you're going to have conferences, even though they're divisions, not conferences, then they have the top 2 in, and then the next best 3. I'm fine with that. Sorry, next best 2. I'm fine with that. But you can't change it halfway through. You can't change the rules halfway through. Maybe you could actually, I don't know, market in the communities. Maybe the idea of keeping everyone in Arlington until game day and doing no community outreach is having an effect, for sure. I saw Memphis for this upcoming game. They're finally waking up. They're offering kids under 12 free $2 beers, $2 hot dogs. I don't know how much the regular tickets are, but hopefully they're $10 or less, including the fees. I think going forward, unless you're St. Louis, everyone should just be opening the gates. Charge $2 hot dogs, $5 beers, dollar sodas, or whatever. Try to get people to buy your merch. Get them excited about the product. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but on Twitter, most of the conversation of going on, especially from people that are just tuning in, is this league's not going to survive. There's no fans. Which, as we know, the TV ratings are great for what it is. So they're fine there. But if you're a casual fan, we've talked about this before. You tune in. Why am I watching this? There's my middle school down the road gets a bigger crowd because also they're pumping up those numbers. They keep saying there's 9,000 that are in a game, and if you'd be lucky if they panned around if you counted actual 1,000 heads there. So yeah, they need to fix all of that, but you don't do that. I mean, I do marketing sales. I can. There's so many ways to fix all that if they chose to, but you can't change the rules halfway through. That's just not what you do.
Yeah, I am right there with you. The rules cannot be changed halfway through. The teams are
Especially
playing.
You're a Renegades fan. So a few years ago, had they done that and changed the rules halfway through, your Renegades wouldn't have a title because the 7-3 team got left home.
Yeah, by the end of the playoff run, though, they were 500, so I got that going for me. Right?
And they won the games that mattered, and they won by the rules.
Yeah, and the teams had when the rules are out there, it's a sign of a bush league when you are moving around rules, changing rules in the middle of the season. You cannot do it. But what's weird about the UFL too, this discussion, this little debate that we're talking about, has not changed. We've been talking about that last year in the former podcast, H-Town Pick'ems, if you ever wanted to see a history check on that. But we talked about it then. So the UFL fans knew about it. The UFL also knew about it. And you'd be surprised, but this exact story came out last year. They were talking about changing the rules last year.
Yep.
They know it's a problem. They see an issue with it, but they don't address it in the offseason. Then they wait until middle of the season each year to debate this. Not the time. Tell us the rules. Tell us what we got. Let our teams know what exactly are they playing for, and let them go out there and try to capture whatever position they need to get into the league to get to the playoffs. You mentioned the marketing side. I'm right there with you. There are two different strategies that these two leagues have done. The USFL has been focused on not spending money and slowly build the product. They used to play in one stadium, so they didn't have to do any sort of traveling or anything like that. Their goal was viewership. But they didn't spend much, and they were doing a lot better budgeting-wise. The XFL, on the other hand, took a whole different strategy. Their strategy was save as much money up for this league as possible, get as many investors in on it as well, and just build a stockpile of cash and get ready to lose money. You're going to lose money, but market like hell, get people in the seats, and the ratings will come. If you build it, they will come. That was the strategy. I was always on the XFL side, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Renegades fan. I think it was a great product that did a great job of getting fans on the stands. They were getting 20,000 fans on average all across the board. I'd probably hyperbolize it, maybe 15,000, but overall good. And you had these fun venues to go to. You had the St. Louis Battlehawks. The DC Defenders used to be a great stadium to go to. Their fans are going down, and they're winning. I don't know what's going on, not this week, as we'll talk. And then you had the Seattle Sea Dragons as well that had a great fan presence. And if you have three stadiums that are doing really well, not just one like the Battlehawks, people are going to watch this game because it's just going to force your eyeballs. It makes the product look legitimate. So I am screaming at the UFL on that. Let's go back to the XFL strategy. Now you're in the middle. I don't know your budget situation. Clearly you weren't strategizing for this. So they're in a rock and a hard place right now because I think they strategized one way and the ratings have been all right, but they have not improved tremendously. And I think the main reason why is the fans out there. But I do love what the Showboats are doing. They're trying. They're doing the best they can to get those $2 beers. What was it, $1 hot dogs?
$2 hot dogs, $2 beers, kids 12 and under free.
Love it. Let's start taking that approach. We're going to have to take a little loss on this, but you got to get butts in those seats for sure.
Yeah. Either that or why are we in all these different towns? Screw it. Rent rent the practice facility in Frisco, set it up as a made-for-TV thing, and you don't worry about the audience, and you just have a TV product.
Yeah, take the COVID approach. I wouldn't like that. I like going to these games. I've been to a couple.
Good to have fans in the stands.
It's just more fun to have fans in the stands, but I don't want to revert. I want to go forward, and they've got to get ready to shell out some more money out there. I get it. It's probably hard to talk to the investors about doing that thing, but the ratings are just stabilizing. They're not going up. We've got to do something. I think we got to start changing it. This week was really not good at all for ratings, but again, there's a lot going on, and they weren't
terribly down.
No, and that typically happens just across the board. Your league in the beginning of the season, it's new, it's fresh, people are watching it again, and then it kind of dips mid-season, and it usually picks back up towards the playoffs. So nothing to be alarmed at on the playoffs or on the ratings, but they've got to I'm with you. They've got to start marketing different and change a different approach. The Rock did a wonderful job at it. I don't know if it's PC for me to say Vince McMahon the first time did a wonderful job at it, but I think they got to have that approach. It's just market your product, get it out there, go to the communities, go to the radio stations in your local area, and promote. It's fun watch, and it's cheap football. If the concessions were cheap too, then there's really no excuse to go as long as the parking's not bad.
For sure.
For sure. But there was football to be had as we go on to the results of this week. We got the week 6 results. Not as exciting as week 5, I would say, Rob, but it was something.
It started with a rock fight. Battlehawks Renegades was a rock fight.
Yeah, and they were the first ones to go at it. And I got to tell you, I've got a lot to say about the Renegades. I'm starting to get a little nervous now. But Rob, what'd you get out of the game?
I got that the Battlehawks can play defense. And they can grind it out if they need to. And that if you throw to Hakeem Butler, it's a touchdown. But apparently you can only throw to him if you're going to score a touchdown. That's it. He's only got 3 catches all season, all touchdowns, average of 51 yards. So Duggan even mentioned that too to Hakeem Butler. He's like, I'm just not giving it to you enough. And I agree with you, Duggan. You don't need much, man. Just get it out there. And he looked like a animal out there against Price, who's a great cornerback. He's having a great year. Renegades defense in general is just having a really good year, except for the DC Defender game. But, you're always going to have one stinker. But Price, who I think is a great cornerback, looked like a child out there. Hakeem Butler's big. He's fast. And, boy, he'll catch those balls. Yeah, and he's doing great. Sorry, I was taking a look down, and, man, we both went 1-3 again.
Stay away from us.
That spread. Or why do we got to stop believing in the Brahmas to cover any points?
Yeah, you definitely got to pick against us right now. We're going through a cold stretch, so still watch us. We're valuable assets in your gambling sphere, because if you go against our spread right now, you're on the money. If you go, Nick and Rob says it's a sure thing, it's not. Go the other way, and you're going to make some money. But the thing that concerned me about this game was the Renegades in general. They didn't look good, Rob. They did not look good. No. That was awful. That was a beatdown. That score was not nearly as close as it even should have been. The Renegades defense was doing what they normally do. Duggan, hats off to him, did a really good job at scoring, and then Hakeem Butler was doing his thing. But they did contain Sailors, and overall that offense didn't move the ball too much. But, man, I thought with Day Hunter, I thought with Kellen Ballage, I thought things were changing over here. They already have Canella. They already have Payne. They've got a lot of great wide receiver weapons over there. And you've got a great quarterback, but, geez, he had no time to throw. It's reminding me of last year's Renegades. It's starting to rear its ugly head. And I think the teams have the book on them. Run a nickel package, stop the run, get that taken care of, and they're doing a really good job at stopping it. Run a nickel package, stay back, and they're not going to be able to score. We're doing terrible in the red zone. We can't, we got a fumble at the 10, and you go out there and lay just a field goal in a very do or die time. You needed that touchdown to even make it a game. And the defense handed it to you. And if you keep playing that way, the defense is going to get worn out, and they're going to play really bad. I will say that was a little bit of an outlier. Generally speaking, they've got a couple of duds, but they haven't played that bad. I'd imagine there's going to be a big coaching session on just offensive line play and things like that to improve on it. But when it comes to that offensive line, it is atrocious. And I really wish they were doing some of the same things that the Battlehawks are doing, or the same thing that the DC Defenders are doing. Let's go crazy on play action. Let's go crazy on motion, because your offensive line is getting beat. You've got to do things to just scale that defense back just a little. Give them a little bit of time. And if you run good routes in the zone, you'll find the holes, and Luis Perez can hit those spots. But it's not looking good in Renegade land, man. I think they can come back from it, but they're definitely not looking like the top team in the league.
They're not, but at the same time, anyone can be anyone. So no one's out of it. So it'll be good. But I mean, the Renegades are gonna. That was a huge game for the playoffs for them, and now they're on the outside looking in. All of a sudden,
it's not looking good for them, and that was against so they've got to beat the DC Defenders, I think, to even have a chance to get to the playoffs, because they split against the Battlehawks, they split against the Defenders, and go to ham on your other opponents.
yeah.
The next game that we had here was the Showboats and the Roughnecks, the battle of the new quarterbacks that are hitting the scene. You got McClendon versus Wynn, and what an entertaining game. Both of them played really well. Both of them are looking good again.
Yep, and I think the Roughnecks are getting hot at the right time, and they just might be able to slide into the playoffs.
You think the Roughnecks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good options. You got Merritt, you got Justin Hall. McClendon's fixing their quarterback situation. I think they're in really good shape. If the offense is playing at a decent level, they have a really, really good defense. I think that team is going to be in the hunt and in the playoffs for sure.
They played some, yes, it was against the Showboats, but the Showboats were showing some life the last few weeks. I think Cinderella's shown up for them, unless they get a big crowd their next game, and then maybe that rallies them. At this point, I would say if there's two teams I know aren't making the playoffs, obviously it's the Brahmas and then it's the Showboats. I'd say everyone else still has a chance.
At the bare minimum, at least the Showboats are fun to watch with Wynn. He's an entertaining quarterback to watch.
Yep, they found the guy that they need to start the rest of the season.
For sure. And the same with the Roughnecks. Same situation. They just found a quarterback, and it worked out for them. It's a lot more entertaining. DC Defenders versus Michigan Panthers, your second favorite team there, Rob. Laid an egg against the Michigan Panthers.
The two games the Defenders have lost this year, they haven't shown up. So it seems to more be a motivation thing versus a skill thing. Tiamu is still far and away leading most of the quarterback stats, but I think Bryce Perkins gained a lot of ground in the MVP race. He might actually legitimately be number one in the MVP race right now. So the Defenders, even though they started out hot, they're by no means are they going to make the playoffs. So they're in must-win territory. They got to win this game next week, because if they lose it, they're going to be on the outside looking in and having a tough time clawing back in with only 3 games to go.
Yeah, the Michigan Panthers are looking really, really good. There's no denying that right now. You got Bryce Perkins. I love what you said. When we were debating this between Etling and Bryce Perkins, we weren't talking which one's going to be the MVP of the league. We were just saying which one should be the starting quarterback. Boy, we're finding out. I think they got the MVP in this league. Bryce Perkins had a hell of a game. He looked really good, and talk about exciting to watch, man. There were so many times he was back in the pocket, looked like he was dead in the water, and he just got himself out of those jams. Michigan Panthers never had a fun offense for me to watch. This is actually fun to watch, and their defense is pretty good. Bar none, I think they are the best team in the UFL right now.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be. And granted, that can keep changing. There are, 5 teams at 3-3 or better. So there's a lot to happen. But right now, the most consistent team this season has been the Michigan Panthers, with the Stallions not too far behind them, but they have major issues at quarterback play for the Stallions.
They're doing something weird over there, and I'm glad you're bringing up the Stallions. Everyone, let's have a little moment of silence for Rob and the Brahmas. That was
that's it. It's over.
the party is over, as you said. It was fun while it lasted, but you know,
He's Peyton Party's proved he's more Freddie Kitchens than he is Sean McVay. I don't know, some young up and coming coach. So
yeah, that's really good out there. They laid an egg against the Stallions. The Stallions got back to form. We should have known the Stallions having a little bit of a struggle last week against the Showboats and losing to the Showboats. They were probably going to go out and play. Skip Holtz is not going to let them have 2 eggs in a row. And boy, did they shell out. But their quarterback situation is really interesting. So
they had another injury
with Case Cookus.
And then what's Anthony starts with a P? He got hurt too.
Oh, Peasley.
Yeah, he got hurt too.
Dang. He looked really good again.
No, he looked fine. And that's the thing is it's my major thing doubting the Stallions at this point is at some point you can't just stick anybody under center and have it work. They were smart with those 3 amazing quarterbacks to start the season, but Corral's done. Cookus might be back. McClue's done for the year. So now you're just pulling people off the street at this point. And
if there was an offense to just plug and play on QB, though, this is one of them. I think 2 teams coming to mind, or actually 3, because I just like the coaches for them. That is the DC Defenders, Stallions, and the Battlehawks. They've got really nice offensive play, and they could get away with it. But you're right. Quarterback's the most important position for a reason, and sooner or later it's going to get them.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was just, and we went 1-3. Both of us went 1-3 on the week. So fade us. I also saw something on Twitter about the Brahmas because they were in Birmingham this last week, but they're at home again this week coming up, and apparently because it was pre-planned, it's a Wade Phillips bobblehead day. And even funnier, I don't know if this was just a long ago scheduled tweet, but Phillips' Twitter account responded to them on that saying that he was going to be there. He quit.
You don't think he's going to be there?
It'd be kind of hilarious if he was.
Why not? He likes to party, clearly.
Yeah. But that's going to be a funny thing. But I think they're going to have a lot of extra bobbleheads because I don't see the fans staying committed to this team. They were already starting to struggle to draw, which for them was still a lot better than like 6 of the other teams in the league. But
the Brahma
it's nice out in San Antonio. Why would I waste 3 hours watching them not score when I can go do any other thing in San Antonio?
Yeah, it's such a fun town that you could do a lot of other things than watch this right now. And I feel so bad for the Brahma fan base because they are a good fan base. They actually are one of the ones that do show up and they'll get above that 15,000 mark, but it's just not a good product right now. But we were debating this last year on the podcast too. If your team's playing bad, they go, well, we need to get the fans out. Guys, I hate to break it to you. It is spring football. And if your team's losing, I don't blame fans for not showing up. I just don't. Why force yourself to watch a tough product out there?
Right, especially when the weather is good. People want to be outside. They want to go golfing. They want to hang in the park. They want to go watch a baseball game. It makes it hard. Which again, it's another challenge of having the league in the spring. I know if you put it in the fall, going up against college, high school, NFL. There's no winning as far as getting eyes on the product. Spring has to be when you do it. But the weekends in the spring, again, put those games midweek. I bet the numbers would be better.
And a lot of people are struggling. They used to make the argument, hey, give me 18 weeks, 18 days in the season to watch an NFL game. And they would make that argument with their wives or significant other. We're asking for a lot. With 10 extra ones too, and then the playoffs. But I think the spring is obviously, there's no choice. You have, and I think there's room for football. I think there's a lot of fans out there that have not tapped into this. The product is really, really good, guys. It's not it's good football. You get blowouts in the NFL too. It just happens. But overall, great product. We were talking about it earlier. If you just get fans out there, I think the viewership just gets up into the millions. I don't think it'll take too much.
Yeah.
It just needs to be talked about too. That's another thing. If you're not talking about it at work or with your friends, then that's one issue out there too. Right now, it's when you're talking about it to your friends, you're like explaining what the leak is, and not so much the product itself, not the game that happened or a controversial call. So after week 6 went down, though, we do have the power rankings according to the UFL media. Shout out to them for providing this for us. I don't see too much. Rob, do you have any differences with it?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do.
Okay.
The bottom 2 are correct. The number 1 team, correct, Michigan Panthers. At this point, though, especially after the Rock fight, the Stallions with 4 different starting quarterbacks, I'm going to put them at number 2. I think that's where they belong. And then I'm probably still going to put the DC Defenders at 3. I need to see the Battlehawks put like 2 weeks in a row of complete games. And then I'm going to have the Defenders at 3, Battlehawks at 4. And then the Houston Roughnecks, I believe, belong at 5 right now. With the way they've been playing the last few weeks, they're proving it. And then right behind them, the Arlington Renegades at 6, and then a huge gap between 7 and 8.
I want to defend my Renegades so bad, but I got nothing to say. Although it was against a good team in the Battlehawks, but I actually like this a lot. The only thing I'd flip is obviously DC Defenders versus Renegades. I just flip them. Outside of that,
Yeah,
I'm pretty good with this. So, Battlehawks, I think, have proven enough for me. Stallions are doing what they do. And overall, I think DC Defenders have just been a little bit more consistent, and they beat the Renegades. So for now, I'd have them in there.
Yeah.
But you're right. Keep an eye on Roughnecks. I have them at 6 right now. Keep an eye on that, though. I don't think that's going away anytime soon, which is good because, again, I know a lot of Roughneck fans out there, so I'm happy for them to play well.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got the DraftKings odds. There they are. Get a good look, Rob. Gosh, I got to find some other better product. I don't like the way it's dished out. It's hard for me to see. But Friday night game, they're going to continue it, Rob. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob.
I'm shaking my head because 8.5 is a lot. Even though,
And what Rob's referring to is the DC Defenders against the San Antonio Brahmas. Vegas is baiting you to just take the Brahmas. Just do it, man. 8.5. Come on, Rob.
Nope. Fool me twice.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
You can't get fooled again, right, Rob?
Which means I probably will be. But yeah, looking at this, I'm a few things I'm surprised about. Again, 8.5 still a lot. Granted, if Kevin Hogan clearly was not the answer, that didn't solve any problems. It made it worse. So hopefully that means Kellen Mond is back in this week. But if I'm Kellen Mond, I'm also like, hey, does another team want me? Because Party's kind of being a joke right now. He pulled me when I wasn't the problem. Hey, maybe I don't know if there's a trade deadline. Maybe the Stallions can swing a trade for Kellen Mond to get him over there. I think that'd be great.
Why
Stallions
not? Another
need
quarterback
like another 12 quarterbacks to get through the rest of the season. So why not Kellen Mond for a little bit of it? But yeah, that 8.5 line I think is still pretty big. And then I think the Stallions being favored by 6 over the Roughnecks is a lot too. I'd like to see that more along the lines of 3.5, 4 points. But I think everything else is right there. I'm surprised that the Battlehawks aren't a full touchdown favorite, but again, their offense struggled pretty hard. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see what your picks are going to be.
Yeah,
Any thoughts
go
on the
ahead.
lines?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pick the first one. We got the DC Defenders against the San Antonio Brahmas. DC Defenders are favored 8.5. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm getting so tired of it's getting bad. But since the DC Defenders laid such an egg, usually they're motivated to play pretty well in the next week. 8.5's a lot, but I got the DC Defenders to go ahead and cover that 8.5.
Agreed. They do have Tiamu, and the and the Brahmas don't have a defense. So
Yeah, in the front seven for the DC Defenders, Brahmas can't run it on a lot of teams, and other teams run the ball on them so well. That's what the DC Defenders' bread and butter is. So you're going with them?
Yeah, it would not. Yeah, I'm going to say the defenders are going to also cover, but at the same time, it would. I know the over unders aren't there. It would not surprise me if the Brahmas put up 21 to 24 points in this game, but still don't cover the spread.
Ooh, wow. He's a big doubter on the defense. I'm right there with you. They're just not looking good this year.
But I think their offense will bounce back a bit. The defenders are a big bend but don't break defense. So the Brahmas, if they put Kellen Mond in, if they stick to what was working 3 weeks ago, if they get back to that, I think they can score points. But their defense isn't going to stop the defenders all night unless the defenders turn it over.
Agree. And the next game that we have here is the Michigan Panthers at the Arlington Renegades. Wow, we're picking a good time for our schedule right now while we're falling apart. We're playing good teams, but Michigan Panthers are favored 3 points against the Arlington Renegades. Rob, who do you got for this one?
Panthers covering the 3. The only way I don't see it working is if Nolan drinks more crazy juice and starts throwing Etling back in the game.
I've got absolutely.
I think the Panthers defense can really pressure Luis Perez.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be a struggle for the Renegades. My football, what is it? My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me Renegades. I think the Renegades are just going to pull it off because I keep picking them all week long. Maybe I should stop. Maybe that's my problem. Football eyes, I've got nothing. Michigan Panthers should beat them. They should beat them easily by 3. They're really humming along. Their defense is good. Bryce Perkins is cooking. They're running the ball well. It's going to be really tough for the Arlington Renegades to pull it off. Luis Perez looks like he's falling apart. The offensive line just looks atrocious. So I have absolutely no reason football-wise to be picking the Arlington Renegades, but it's called UFL Homer Hour for a reason, Rob, and you got yourself a homer over here. So don't go with me, bettors. Don't go with me. But I'm gonna ride them.
And with us picking opposite sides, that means bettors just stay away from this game.
I really wouldn't. I would just pick the Panthers. Really, I'd just do that if I was them. But it's fine. It's fine. You know, do your own thing. But yeah, I'm just gonna pick the Renegades because I'm just a fan. This is why I don't pick my teams. I don't touch my teams in real life with money. I do not do it. I'm too blinded by loyalty.
Same. All right, man. Roughnecks going to Birmingham. What do you got going there? 6-point spread. Home team favored.
Yeah, the Birmingham Stallions favored just by 6 points, which is pretty shocking. You think early in the season this would be an easy one, but it's looking like the Roughnecks are starting to catch Vegas's eyes there. With Merritt, Justin Hall, Marcus Sims, that offense is coming along. I'm going to go the Houston Roughnecks to somehow keep it within 6, just because their defense does such a good job against the Birmingham Stallions, and now they've got a little bit of offensive firepower. McClendon's debut game was against the Stallions, and that's when, he hit the scene and was discovered there. So I felt like the Roughnecks played a good game, but their offense was inconsistent because they were having to shuffle of quarterbacks around. Now that they're confident, now that they got McClendon, I think they're going to be able to – I wouldn't be shocked if they win it. I'm serious. This team matches up really well against the Birmingham Stallions.
Yep, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think the Roughnecks will cover the 6, and I think they can win outright if the quarterback play struggles for Birmingham, which we don't even know who's starting at this point. So I think it really could. So yeah, I think the Roughnecks announced to their division, their conference, that hey, we're here. Hey, look at us. We've got a playoff spot right now, and they I think they went outright. If I had to say, if we were just picking who's winning, I think the Roughnecks are going to go into town and win.
Two big upsets. So Birmingham's going to stomp them, clearly, the way we've been picking.
Yep.
um, but football-wise, straight objectivity. I'm with you, Rob. I think the Roughnecks should actually make this a game. It's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be much more entertaining than people were led to believe in the beginning of the year.
Yes, agreed. This next game, I think the Battlehawks easily cover the 4, especially if they can get the ball in Hakeem Butler's hands 5 or more times. Will he get 5 touchdowns? No. But he might get multiple, and he's got that big play threat. If the line can block long enough for Duggan to, bake an entire cake before the ball comes out of his hand and get it to Butler, I think the Battlehawks will run with this one.
I'm right there with you. The Showboats, though, I do like Wynn, and I think he's coming along, and he's playing really well, and he's had 2 good weeks in my mind. So for him to go against the Battlehawks at this time kind of just, I don't know, puts a damper on it because that defense is starting to hum along there. Still a little nervous about the St. Louis Battlehawks offense in general. I think it's taken a while to figure out the Duggan system, which seems simple to me. You just play RPOs like crazy and just keep playing that and have him hit you with a couple bombs because he can throw it really far, and you have Hakeem Butler. So it should work out. And then with the combination with Sailors, that offense should be fine. Still a little nervous about it, but give me the Battlehawks all day against the Memphis Showboats, especially against the Showboats defense. I think the Battlehawks should get the 4 points for sure.
Nice. All right, there's our picks. Our disagreement is the Panthers and the Renegades. Otherwise, we're saying the same thing all the way through. So you know where to fade us.
Yeah. And you know which games to stay away from. Just stay away from the Panthers and Renegades, apparently. But
yeah.
So with the week 6 in the bag, Rob, who do you have for your best, your worst, and your biggest surprise?
Yeah, so my best, I'm gonna lead off with Houston. I'm gonna go with the second half. It was a tight game. It stayed a tight game the whole way, but Houston's defense stepped up. They had that strip sack that turned into a 40-yard touchdown. I know TJ Franklin went ahead and he picked it up after I think it was Andrew Marsh got the strip, and that was the game winner right there. That put them up 21-13, and then they were able to hang on for a 1-point win after that. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight the Roughnecks in general, but that was an exciting play. I was fist pumping. It was good. That was my best.
I've got, and that's a pretty good one right there. Should I do it back to back again? No, it's easy for me. Bryce Perkins all day. I think when you were talking MVP, when you're going against the potential MVP and shelled out right in front of him like that, Bryce Perkins is a dog, man. I like that guy a lot, and he's starting to put on a big show. So I think he's moved his way up to front of the MVP, but it was because of that performance. That's how he got there. So give me Bryce Perkins all day for that.
For sure. Can't go wrong there at all. For my worst, I'm actually going to stay away from the Brahmas.
Give him a break.
I'm going to give them a break. They're hurting. There's no point. We all know they're the worst right now. All love. Lifetime 6-7 week old Brahma fan here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say what I'm going to go for the worst is Stallions quarterback health. They've had 4 different starters, and then they had to pull Peasley in off the bench, and then he hurt his knee. So I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's the turf in Birmingham. I don't know if if the league's not providing good good doctors and stuff to keep him healthy. I don't know what's going, or it's just sheer bad luck because they happen to have three of probably the top five quarterbacks in the league at the start of the season, and they're paying the price just because of that. I don't know, but if law averages says they got to be healthy the rest of the way, but if they're not, they might see themselves fall all the way out of the playoffs.
For sure, and that's a pretty good pick there. I'm trying to motivate some people out there, okay? And I need that Renegades offensive line. I don't know. Pick one. I don't care which one. Awful. Terrible, terrible performance against the St. Louis Battlehawks. That was by far the worst performance in the league this year with them. We're getting rearing back to our old selves with this, and I am very, very frustrated with it. So motivation for you, Renegades offensive line, step it up. Let's go. Let's play a lot better than that, because that was a god-awful performance. Luis Perez didn't have a chance. Day Hunter didn't have a chance. Kellen Balazs didn't have a chance. You name it. None of these guys could do anything, and it's all because of just pressure in the backfield. You know, we're here to play football. Let's get the war going. Come on, guys. Hit them hard. All right? So that's who I got, the Renegades offensive line, and, let's get that fixed.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise, Rob?
I'm going to go with a stat here. I know early in the season and then Friday night, especially this week, offense really struggled, but it started to pick up the last few weeks. But I was really surprised to see that it was this week that that we had the highest amount of receiving yards for one player on the season. And that it was only 144 yards. Chris Rowland, he brought in, I believe it was 9 catches, including a big 65-yarder. But I would have thought someone would have eclipsed the 150 mark in the last few weeks. I really hope that we do see that. I know it's a quicker game. I know it's more of a dink and dunk game, but I would like to see bigger yardage numbers out of quarterbacks and receivers.
For sure. And I think right now all the defenses are scaling back and playing the nickel. They're actually reverting back to the NFL strategy right now and forcing teams to run the ball. So I think it's the yin and yang of football. You know, it starts off running, then it goes back to passing, then back to running. And I think we're going through the stop the pass right now, defenses, and we're seeing it out there. I've got Justin Hall. He had a heck of a game. He's surprise is unfair because he's a really good player, but I think he's finally got a good quarterback. Marcus Sims in his right-hand wing right there is doing a good job of getting him open over there as well. So Justin put out a good game, got a big touchdown, and I'm just going to give it. Finally, Justin Hall's hitting the scene and showing the league what he's capable of with that offense running along.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Great pick. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Well, we've had another amazing week. Anything else we got to clean up?
I've got nothing more to add. Just stop losing Renegades. I'm getting tired of it. It's starting to make me mad. So got a big game up ahead. So I'm please.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks we have not done football game of the week. We just had busy schedules out there. Not too sure if we're going to do it, but if we do, keep an eye on our Twitter page or Rob's Twitter page as well, and see us post it. We'll let you guys know ahead of time if we are planning on that.
Yeah, and if we don't get on for a full-on live stream, I'm sure we will at least be able to pop on and do a weekend recap or something at some point. But it is Mother's Day weekend coming up, so make sure to, if you don't go see your mom, make sure to call your mom. Send her a card, send her some, well, maybe not just flowers. They're insanely expensive right now. So find something else that's nice and might last a little longer than a flower that'll die in 2 days.
Yeah. And for a Mother's Day gift, I'm hoping for a 3-0 series lead for the Stars. I think she'd really appreciate that on Mother's Day.
I think she would.
All right, guys, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good one, everyone.